This next fellow, I adore his work, and Robert and I have discussed him a lot, and it's not that he's derivative of him, but he fills the shoes, I think, most handsomely well. I see him as a frost incarnate. It's fascinating to be quote-unquote a hipster and listen to somebody espouse life around them from a bucolic standpoint, and then all of a sudden go bam and hit you right in the solar plexus with the truth, bear down to the bone. The economy is miraculous. Walter Worden.
Thank you, Hayden. Thank you very much, and hello, everyone.
Mike?
My first poem is a rather new one. It's called Lives Among the Stars.
Ah, the miracles of technology. Then make it work.
Lives Among the Stars. They are only stars, some will say, not eyes. But to me, in the black wash of quiet space, a billion faces are formed amidst the planetary array. The salvage of a billion lives, embedded in the night's dark quilt, to which we, so far below and anchored to ancient ground, can only offer wonder and hope that there be breathing dreams too, cast amongst that holy clutter. This is called Green Fire. This is a poem I wrote earlier in the spring. Dawn fingers through the trees, sharp facets of unresolved sun touching limb and leaf, then moving down to enliven the tender spring grass. Rabbits are rambunctious, searching for last morsels before retreating beyond the woodpile. Squirrels are present too, and the robin and titmouse, both on the lawn seeking seeds. The land is lighted now, the day leaning toward noon. It is the same celebration, nuanced at first, then brash. The sugar maples magnificent at last, festive in green fire. This is called The Other One. It was the memory I had, and the memory of the memory, that suggests something of the space from where I came, and of all I have lost, and of the way I was made and where. And now, Mother, as long as you have gone, and the long summer grass is gone, and decades of cold winter days have distanced me from the fractured images, I try to recall again and have come to face a strange personage, of whom of late I have been living with, he of indecipherable familiarity, who often feels like me, whose clothes fit me, whose dreams are mine. A man who has grown into himself in age, a quiet traveler out of time, who has at last returned, a figure of foreign character, but an old friend I've only just met. This poem I wrote just after the invasion of Iraq, the second invasion. Death on the news and no one looks up. Death on the news and no one looks up. A soldier overcome by fatigue slumps against his Humvee. The dinner dishes rattle in the sink. Dust floats with the flies in the sun over bodies. We break for a message about a product that prevents hair loss. In the distance, the oil fields are burning. Crumbs are wiped from the dinner table. The American consulate is consumed by fire. The cafe curtains above the sink flutter in the August breeze. An army truck explodes on the road to Fallujah. The father and the oldest son want to watch The Simpsons. The war, we are told, is proceeding on schedule. The mother is helping her youngest with homework. The anchors and weathermen engage in happy talk. People are screaming in the smoke-filled streets. Next door, the neighbors are having a barbecue, hamburgers and ribs. A soldier being interviewed by CNN speaks of his family back home in the Bronx. The weatherman describes a high-pressure system moving slowly in from the west, bringing high temperatures. The bodies are neatly arranged in rows, their faces covered. The anchorman expresses his appreciation of sunshine. Young girls run screaming through smoking rubble. The boy in his Batman pajamas is ready for bed. Rockets brighten the sky over Baghdad. The couple, mother and father, finally get comfortable on the couch. Stay tuned to this channel. Sports is next. This is communique from the caravan. In the heat of the sand, I have neatly stacked my balance of days, marking each from a vial of blood. The world's wars change nothing, but merely move the frail borders out of reach, giving no reason for infants to grow. Mothers lie down in deep arroyos, where they are raped of faith and future harvests, and stale hopes rot like mangoes in the unforgiving sun. For a time it is tolerable, when it seems the winds of heaven are blowing softly on your face. But where can the common amongst us find lasting shade in the bright but false face of cold deception? Where might the decamasados breathe clean air and sleep the tender sleep of trust, far from the constant fury of all-consuming fires? Where can worn hands sink into healing soil? Look and you will believe. The once solid vanities that have kept you collared will soon curl away toward light as candle wax yields to the slightest flame. Look and you will believe. Already the new prophets are revising the old misconceptions, and lame and tired soldiers are straggling homeward, leaving the sacred lies in heaps along the roads. Look and you will believe. Already the wind is in the cottonwoods, rising to sing among the budding branches. Look and you will believe. Already the green and tender hills are burning. Hear, hear. And my final poem is one that it mentions a incident in all of our lives, most of our lives, that other than the Kennedy assassination, for me, changed my life. This is called Border Pine. This morning I watched them take down the Gorton's pine, the tall one that stood between our properties with what seemed a purpose beyond that which is expected of trees. Young men with chainsaws severed the lower limbs, going gradually up until the trunk was naked, showing its mottled brownish-gray skin to the cold spring morning. The workers then tied a rope around a section of the stripped trunk they intended to cut, sawed through it, then used the rope to ease it down, letting it drop the last few feet to the still frozen ground. The work was done in good time, with the whole trunk cut in near equal parts and set into piles. The men paused for lunch, perching with sandwiches on the nearby stone wall I had watched Walter Gorton build alone in the late 50s. I remembered being fascinated as he fitted each piece carefully in place with craftsman's precision. I recall, too, sitting on that wall one night with a few neighborhood kids, all of us somber, the giggly gaiety of pre-adolescence briefly gone as we tried to decipher what was going on in Cuba, wondering where it was and why our parents could not speak of it. The stately pine behind us reaching up into the stars, what we had all tacitly accepted as a solid symbol of stability. After a week full of frightening news, we could not help but sense the danger, aware somehow the world was tipping toward an unimaginable maw. When morning came, we faced our tender calamities, The issues that in youth we enlarge beyond their significance. The small youthful stumbles that from the distance of time nearly go unnoticed. After lunch, the tree men went back to work, collecting the scattered limbs in a pile and feeding them into the mouth of the wood chipper. Gradually, as the job progressed, the pine disappeared into the merciless jaws of the machine, and by late afternoon, the workers were gone, leaving behind a naked stump where a sentinel once stood. Walter Gordon left us last autumn, dropping to his hallway rug, dead, they said, before his body crushed the fibers flat. I watched that evening as they took him away, bundled in a black plastic bag. I stood for a long time afterward, washing dishes at the kitchen window with the lights off. The Gordon's house, dark and empty. Red and blue flashes of a police cruiser pulsing far too long through the still living limbs of the border pine. Thank you.